Hello and welcome to another video, and today I'm excited to be here and talk about the Xbox Showcase for 2024. This was, for everything that's been going on, at least in the world of Xbox, this had to be their moment. This had to be their slam dunk, their knock out of the park. They needed to do that, and I think for the most part, they did actually pull it off. And we're going to get into the ups, a little bit of downs, and everything I think about Xbox's 2024 showcase. We're going to go through it in order. I'm going to talk about everything that I like to see. I will give you a little spoiler. There's not really much negative to talk about here, and I think that's probably the best part of this showcase, coming off of that disastrous Sony PlayStation showcase and then going into the Summer Games Fest, which also was kind of a disappointment. It was nice to come into this Xbox showcase and just see, honestly, like banner after banner, with the one thing that I was really hoping they were going to get away from here and they didn't, which was giving us concrete dates for some of these games, and they still kind of pushed out on that, and that really pisses me off, because that was the one thing here. Like, you can take such a strong chance, you can come out and show me a million different games, but if you're not going to show me games I'm going to be playing in the next 6 months, or at least a lot, then what the fuck are we doing? So, but let's go ahead and let's dive into it, because there's a lot of good things to talk about here. So, there are all these rumors going around like, oh, they're going to kick off with this surprise and that surprise, but the reality is they went with probably the safest bet, which was they kicked it off with a trailer for Call of Duty, and Call of Duty is a huge deal for Microsoft this year. This has been 10 years since Microsoft has had Call of Duty on their stage, because the marketing rights went to Sony for a decade. Now Microsoft not only has the marketing rights, they fucking own Call of Duty because they bought Activision. So obviously they're going to lead with that. This made the most sense. I'll say this, they led with a story single player trailer, and it looks good. I'm really excited to actually play this year's Call of Duty. I haven't played a Call of Duty since Modern Warfare 1 remake in 2019. So it's been 4 or 5 years. I'm itching to play a new Call of Duty, and I thought that this looked really good. So I'll give it a try. It's out October 25th. And it's on Game Pass. Phil Spencer also came out and reaffirmed that this will be the first Call of Duty to hit Game Pass, and all Call of Duties going forward will be on Game Pass day one. And we hit with probably arguably the other biggest banger that we already knew was going to be here, but the trailer still fucking kicked ass. That is Doom: The Dark Ages. It is a prequel to Doom 2016. We're going to get the backstory of the Doom Slayer. It looks fantastic. There's like a chainsaw shield you can throw. There's a mace he has at one point. There's like a fucking futuristic dragon. It looks fantastic. There's so many hordes of enemies to fight. I loved everything about this trailer. I cannot wait. I'm not surprised it's a 2025 game. That's fine. Let them cook. I'm happy with that. I will be there day one. Then we got a surprise re-reveal of State of Decay 3. I love State of Decay 2. It's one of my favorite games from the Xbox One generation, and this looks fantastic. But again, this was a CG trailer only, kind of just reaffirming that the game's still being worked on. There was no date attached to this. I'd like to see this game in 2025, but again, no date attached to it. Then they showed a brief trailer for Dragon Age Veilguard, which we'll be getting more of next week at EA's own conference. I don't know about this game. I'm a lukewarm Dragon Age fan. I think Dragon Age Origins was a fantastic game. Dragon Age 2 was bad, and then Inquisition was fine, but I don't know if I care about this one. It just seems like, if you want to be really pessimistic, it seems like somebody was checking off a DEI checklist for this game, if you want to go down that dark rabbit hole. But even if you take that outside of it, this really didn't excite me. I just want this game to come out so we can then work on Mass Effect. So I'm happy to see this as a fall 2024 game. Will I check it out? I'm going to wait and see what kind of reviews it gets. Fallout 76 got an update. Sometime next year, you're going to be able to play as a ghoul, which is cool. Their new expansion for the game comes out June 18th. So that's pretty cool. Again, nothing really more to say. I know the game's extremely popular now after what we just saw with the TV show a month ago. Kind of just blew that brand up. So they quickly shifted from that into the Starfield Shattered Space trailer for the Starfield DLC that's coming out later. I thought this would be a September release, but it was fall 2024. This looks fantastic. It had kind of a creepy element to it, which I wasn't expecting, with like maybe this like really creepy secret society, but I liked what I saw. I loved Starfield last year. It would have probably been my game of the year if Alan Wake 2 didn't knock it off, and now that you can even play at 60 frames on the Xbox Series X, I think it's a perfect time to jump in. They did just release a patch today that adds mod support for the Xbox console, which is awesome. So more Starfield, I think, is a good thing, and I think more people should go back or at least give it a try. We got a World of Warcraft trailer. I don't really have anything to say about this. This was kind of an odd one. I understand that we have to show it because we own Activision and Blizzard now, but I thought maybe they would do the like, hey, it's coming to console, we finally did it, but no, it's just a trailer for the next expansion. I have nothing on that. One of my favorite things that I saw across all of the conference, I love seeing new games. This one was probably my favorite one I saw. It has a weird title. It's called Claire Obscure Expedition 33, or it looks fantastic. I don't really have much more to say. It's a third-person role-playing game. It looked incredible. It's from a brand new studio. I always love to see that as well. I'm looking forward to this game. This shot way up my list at this showcase, and I'm looking forward to see it again 2025. Now we got South of Midnight. We got our first look at gameplay of this game. Again, another early, I believe this one was early 2025. This also looked really good, really interesting. I still don't know if I'm down with the stop motion because I feel like that's going to mess with the frame rate of the game. We'll have to see when it comes out, but the trailer looked good. I thought the music really fit, like the whole the whole scope of the game. Really, they've made their own thing, and I think it looks really good. Again, another original new game coming in 2025. There's a lot of games. You're gonna hear 2025 a lot. Kind of an odd one here. Konami decided to show the Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater remake trailer at the Xbox showcase. Fantastic trailer. We got the confirmation of David Hayter's voice is back. I really think they're probably just pulling the audio from the original game, which is fine. The biggest bummer here, no release date at all. Just here's another trailer. I don't need to see more of it at this point. Just put the game out. Like, I know what the game is and I want to play it. Another big one. This was actually a release date next month, July 18th. Flintlock, The Siege of Dawn, which has kind of really gone on a change path of direction a little bit, I think, since we first saw it. But happy to see this game coming out not only soon, next month. I'll check it out for sure. It's on Game Pass. Pretty much everything at this showcase will be on Game Pass. Let's talk about the banger of the show. This was the best thing that was shown. It's the show stealer. I think it's the show stealer of all the showcases, and I think this was Microsoft giving a huge flex, a huge slap to the face of all the doubters and the people that have been talking shit about this game for so long. We've heard so many things about, oh, it's in a bad place, it's, you know, it's in destruction, the initiative's gonna close. Of course, I'm talking about Perfect Dark. We got not only a new trailer for Perfect Dark, but a gameplay focused trailer which looked fucking incredible. Like, everything about it screamed next gen. I love everything about it. Like the slow motion, there's a lot of stealth mechanic in the game. It looks so fucking fantastic. This was the highlight of the show for me, and I don't care at this point. This is the one game in the entire showcase I say I don't need a date for it. If I were to bet, I think it's a fall 2026 game. I think it's that far out, but now that you've shown me, hey, no, Perfect Dark's real, I'm more than willing to wait for it because this looked fantastic. Age of Mythology Retold is a remaster of Age of Mythology. Fantastic PC game coming to console for the first time. This will be out September 4th. Diablo 4 is getting its first expansion, Vessel of Hatred, October 8th. They showed a CG trailer. No gameplay, but I don't really need to see it. It's Diablo 4. I'll definitely play it. Finally got a release window for Fable, which is, of course, 2025. But I like this Fable trailer a lot more more than what we saw last year. It did show a little bit more hints of gameplay, but the biggest thing I noticed is the main character. A big problem a lot of people have with that character last year is it looked like somebody hit her with a bag of bricks. I think her face looks better this time around, so they really kind of maybe listen to some of the scrutiny and fix that a little bit. But I'm also under the impression that it's Fable. You probably create your own character, so it's not really going to be what your character is going to look like when you play the game anyways. I think this looks awesome. I think the humor element is what's really driving it forward. It has the humor I expect from a Fable game. It looks awesome. Sometime 2025. We got another major trailer for Indiana Jones. It still looks fantastic. I love everything about the direction of this game. Even Troy Baker sounds fine as Indiana Jones. You can tell he goes in and out of being Troy Baker and sounding like Harrison Ford, but it's fine. I'd rather him sound like a young person than if we got Harrison Ford today, because I don't think that would fit very, very well. That being said, we still couldn't commit to a date here, just fall 2024. That's a bummer. I really wanted them to come out and slam us with a hard release date. And this, of the two games that are fall 2024, I feel like this is the one that could slip into 2025. Wu Chain Fallen Feathers is coming to Game Pass day one. I don't have much to say about this. This is another samurai game. I'm kind of tired of the samurai genre. I think it's overblown right now. They're obviously between this, Assassin's Creed, which we get a trailer for later, and just, you know, Rise of the Ronin, Tenchu. Like I'd love to bring Tenchu back. Ghost of Tsushima. Too many samurai games, so I just don't have an interest. We got a new trailer for Avowed, and again, we couldn't commit to that date. It's just fall 2024. My prediction is that this is November 2024 and that Indie is December 2024. But again, I think of these two games, Indie could slip into 2025. I think Avowed does come out this fall. This was probably the best Avowed has looked. The Sniper Elite team, Rebellion, is working on a brand new game called Atomfall, and it looks pretty fucking cool. I'm glad they're stepping away from Sniper Elite, because the last Sniper Elite I thought was actually a step backwards for the franchise. And this looked cool, it looked weird, and it looks right on the nose for developer Rebellion. This also was a 2025 release. I said before, Assassin's Creed Shadows, new trailer. I don't care. I'm not going to play this game. I just don't, between the controversy and everything, I just don't have an interest in it. And I'm just not interested in the setting. I'm so tired of samurai games. I'm out on it. But, you know, for those that are excited, cool for you. We got a new trailer for Stalker 2, which confirmed it is releasing this fall, September 5th. Really, really cool to see that. And before we got to our final announcement, they did announce new hardware for the system. This was the weird part of the show. So this is what's really weird. There is an all digital Xbox Series X that is 1 terabyte. There is a new all white Series S that is 1 terabyte. And then there is a 2 terabyte with a disk drive. It's called the Galaxy Black. It has specks of white in it and then green system. What's weird to me is, why are you making the 2 terabyte one with a drive? That should be the digital one. But again, whatever. This is kind of your refresh, I guess. And then their big closer before they got to the Call of Duty stuff, which I'll be honest, I didn't watch because I don't need to know any more about Call of Duty, is probably the biggest surprise. Gears of War was here. It is not the collection people predicted. It is not Gears of War 6 that people predicted. Instead, it is Gears of War E-Day. It is a prequel to Gears 1, takes place 14 years before on Emergence Day. It shows a young Marcus. It showed Dom at the very end of the trailer. It plays a rendition of Mad World. I thought this was fucking great and a good way, after years of not having a new Gears of War, to reintroduce fans to this franchise. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say I wouldn't be surprised if you see this specific game also come to PlayStation, because this is a good way to get the PlayStation fan base into Gears of War. And so there you have it. That 2024 showcase is in the books. And honestly, this is probably Microsoft's strongest showcase in a decade. Easily. They've kind of been having, like, last year was a pretty good one. This year really topped last year's. They've shown us that they have now a steady pipeline of games. I mean, this showcase was so good that it's literally like they took Sony out back and put 2 in the dome of them. Like, compared to how bad that last conference was for Sony. Because I look at this and go, okay, yeah, yeah, sure, there's not a lot of games coming out in 2024, but boy, the future, like 2025, like there's some real bangers. Whereas I look on the flip side and look at Sony and go, I have no fucking clue what Sony is doing. I have no idea after this year what's next for Sony, because they're not telling us for some reason. So that alone it speaks volumes. That being said, the biggest bummer here and why this is getting a lower letter grade than I think people are expecting for me personally is, again, the fact of release dates and what the timeline is here. I mean, again, that's great, but this is almost the same precedent we had last year, which is, hey guys, great games are coming. These companies are working on them. 2025 is now the new 2024. You know, we heard this all last year. Oh, you guys are going to get great games in 2024, where the reality is, and I'll say this, if we do end up getting Avowed, Indiana Jones, in addition to things like Stalker and some of these other games, Flintlock is in July. There's a pretty strong lineup. I mean, compared to the competition, there's a pretty strong lineup, but 2025 is looking like a hell of a year for video games, and that's really potentially awesome. It was a bummer that some things didn't come to fruition here. Again, there was no Halo, but Halo is in such a fucking bad state of things. I'm hearing rumblings right now of a full-blown remake of the original Halo, which might also come to PlayStation, which makes sense that at this point that they would remake it from the ground up, rather than just another remaster of the remaster we've been remastering for 10 years. But that also begs the question, is it going to be a faithful remake, or are they going to try and do something stupid like shove some of the TV show shit in there that people will not like? Which I can see executives in a boardroom going, hey, that's a great idea because it'll get people to watch the TV show, when in reality, Halo fans fucking, like myself, fucking hate that TV show. So it's a bummer not to see Halo here, but we got Gears of War, which is awesome. I love Gears of War as well, and it's a little weird we're not getting Gears 6. They did come out after the showcase and say, hey, we're not done with the current storyline. We will be going back to it, but they felt it was important to tell this story. And again, my prediction there is you take this E-Day game and you put it on PlayStation as well. So, and that makes sense. Overall, for me, the showcase is a B. It would have been higher if I saw a few more games with concrete dates, even 2025 games. Like if you told me, hey, Fable is October 25th, 2025. I would have been happier than just the generic 2025. Like we hear the same thing that we heard last year. It was nice to see things. Again, the biggest surprise for me here was Perfect Dark. I really thought we were going to get into this showcase and see nothing from that game. The fact that not only we saw some gameplay is awesome. The other thing that Microsoft did really strong this year, lots of gameplay, which I like. A lot of times, especially at these other conferences like Summer Games Fest, the PlayStation conference, it's all CG trailers, which don't matter at the end of the day. And the other thing I'd like to point out here, and what makes this a really strong showcase, almost everything I saw, for the most part, is a single player narrative driven game, in some way or shape or form. Some of them might have multiplayer elements, but this really showed me that no, the industry is not 100% moving to multiplayer and free-to-play games. There's still room for those types of games because, unfortunately, lately, even Sony has been pushing that route, which is weird because they're going against their type, which is, story-driven single-player narrative experiences. But again, this was a banger of a showcase. Again, it's still a little bit hard to see these execs come out all smiles after shutting down prominent studios and laying off a bunch of people. And that's going to be a tough pill for some people to swallow. I understand that. And I don't think that should be left unchecked either. The only other thing I'll say here that I thought was brain dead, and I alluded to it when I first talked about it when we were going through, is the hardware refreshes. So as of now, as I'm recording this video, they have put out the price points, and the most baffling to me is the 2 terabyte Xbox Series X system, which comes in this like galaxy color, is $600. Like, for fucking real? we're not doing a price drop yet. I did tweet out earlier today that most retailers today are selling the Xbox Series X at $400, and I thought, hey, maybe we're finally getting a price drop because it makes sense that we do that now. It's been 4 fucking years. No, it's just for one day. So you're really going to have a premium console on the market at $600 just because it has 2 terabytes of storage. That is fucking wild to me that they're going to do that. So, but yeah, B for me, I enjoyed this conference a lot. I think this is the best conference they've had in years. There was really nothing negative. Like, the thing I'll say is, like, I sat and watched the PlayStation conference, like, boy, there really isn't anything I'm interested in here. There really wasn't much here that I'm like, I'm not really interested in that. There were a few indie games here that are not my bag, but for the most part, everything shown here is something I'm looking forward to or will play. And again, all these games are going to come to Game Pass, which is fantastic, including Call of Duty, which is awesome. So for me, it's a B. I'd love to know in the comments below, what did you think of the showcase? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Probably done to look at me just sweating my ass off because the air conditioning is not working in this room at the moment. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And until next time.